after the third hour at home, I found this homily by St. Theodoric of Cyprus. He was a 4th century father who did much to combat the Arian heresy. He also contended with Nestorius, and he was more gentle in his controversial discourses than Saint Cyril of Alexandria. It is not really recorded as a saint, but rather blessed, because he wouldn't condemn Nestorius and excommunicate him from the church, as St. Cyril did at the Council of Ephesus. So, but he was still opposed him, though, is a more gentle and kindly soul, I think. But this is a homily on the Incarnation. He was bishop in Cyprus. Of his own free will, Jesus ran to meet those sufferings that were foretold in the Holy Scriptures concerning him. He had forewarned his disciples about them several times. He had rebuked Peter for being reluctant to accept the announcement of his passion, and he had made it clear that it was by means of his suffering that the world's salvation was to be accomplished. This was why he stepped forward and presented himself to those who had come in search of him, saying, "I am the one you are looking for." For the same reason, he made no reply when he was accused, and refused to hide when he could have done so, although in the past he had slipped away on more than one occasion when they had tried to apprehend him. Jesus also wept over Jerusalem, because by her unwillingness to believe, she was bent on her own ruin, and upon the temple once so renowned, he passed his sentence of utter destruction. Patiently he put up with being struck in the face by a man who was doubly a slave in body and in spirit. He allowed himself to be slapped and spat upon, insulted, tortured, scourged, and finally crucified. He accepted 2 robbers as his companions in punishment, on his right and on his left. He endured being reckoned with murderers and criminals. He drank the vinegar and the bitter gall yielded by the unfaithful vineyard of Israel. He submitted to crowning with thorns instead of with vine leaves and grapes. He was ridiculed with a purple cloak. Holes were dug in his hands and feet, and at last he was carried to the grave. All this he endured in working out our salvation. For since those who were enslaved to sin were liable to the penalties of sin, he himself, exempt from sin, though he was walking in the path of perfect righteousness, underwent the punishment of sinners. By his cross, he blotted out the decrees of the ancient curse. For as Paul says, Christ redeemed us from the curse of the law by becoming a curse for us. For it is written, "Cursed be everyone who hangs on a tree." And by his crown of thorns, he put an end to that punishment meted out to Adam, who after his sin had heard the sentence, "Cursed be the ground because of you. Thorns and thistles shall be brought forth for you." In tasting the gall, Jesus took upon himself the bitterness and the toil of man's mortal, painful life. By drinking the vinegar, he made his own the degradation men had suffered, and in the same act gave us the grace to better our condition. By the purple robe, he signified his kingship. By the reed, he hinted at the weakness and rottenness of the devil's power. By taking the slap on the face, and thus suffering the violence, corrections and blows that were due to us, he proclaimed our freedom. His side was pierced as Adam's was, yet there came forth not a woman who, being beguiled, was to be the death-bearer, but a fountain of life that regenerates the world by its two streams, the one to renew us in the baptismal font and clothe us with the garment of immortality, and the other to feed us, the reborn, at the table of God, just as babes are nourished with milk. So that was the favourite.